Welcome to the beautiful Game Football Archives. This is Football Manager 2026 FIFA World Cup Simulation number 2, where we simulate the full tournament to find out who will be crowned world champion when the real World Cup kicks off on June 11th. In this simulation, we will be tracking the Golden Boot winner, the Golden Glove winner, the highest average rating, the most player of the match performances, top assists, the dark horse, the surprise packet, the biggest upset, and which giant will suffer an early exit. Before we get into Simulation 2, let's quickly recap the results from Simulation 1. Spain were crowned world champions, defeating England in the final. Once again, Spain delivering when it matters most, and once again England unable to finish the job when the pressure is at its highest. The USA were the surprise packet, claiming third place with a 4-0 win over Norway, who were the dark horse. Mohamed Salah claimed the Golden Boot with 7 goals and also topped the average ratings with an outstanding 8.10. Mike Maignan took the Golden Glove with 5 clean sheets. Antoine Semenyo and Cole Palmer shared the Player of the Match honours with 3 awards each. Assists were shared between Messi, Rafinha, Olise, Seydou, Cucurella and Saka with 4 apiece. Scotland delivered the biggest upset, knocking out the Netherlands 2-1 in the round of 32. And both Portugal and Argentina suffered early exits before the quarterfinals. Now let's see what Simulation 2 brings. Please like and subscribe to follow every simulation leading up to the real World Cup. Let's get into it. The opening games are in, a 1-1 draw between Mexico and South Africa, and a 3-2 victory for the Czech Republic over South Korea. 2 Group A games to get us underway on June 11th, and already some different results compared to Simulation 1. Moving on to the next batch of results, the USA with a 3-0 victory over Paraguay. Once again, home ground advantage proving absolutely crucial for the Americans. They rode that all the way to the 3rd place playoff in Simulation 1, and they are picking up right where they left off. We will be keeping a very close eye on the USA throughout this simulation. Canada and Bosnia playing out a 1-1 draw in the Group C fixtures. Into the 14th of June, and some really interesting results. Scotland comfortably beating Haiti, with Scott McTominay grabbing a hat-trick. McTominay was not a major factor in Simulation 1, and he is immediately announcing himself here as one to watch in this tournament. Switzerland defeating Qatar 5-0, very comfortable and expected. Sweden defeating Tunisia 3-1 with a hat-trick from Gyökeres, another player who did not feature prominently in Simulation 1 and is already making his mark here. Germany defeating Curacao 4-1. Ivory Coast picking up a really impressive win over Ecuador, a strong result against a side that was one of the dark horses of Simulation 1. And then the big result of this round. Japan defeating Netherlands 3-2. That is a massive upset. The Dutch were one of the most dominant sides in Simulation 1, and Japan have sent a huge statement in the opening round of group games. Turkey defeating Australia 3-2 in an entertaining match, Mohamed Torah grabbing a double for Australia. Into the 16th of June, and Spain already making their presence felt with a big 5-2 win over Cape Verde. Lamine Yamal getting the first goal of the match, and the defending simulation champions looking sharp from the very start. Belgium defeating Egypt 1-0, reversing the result from Simulation 1 where Egypt caused one of the early upsets. New Zealand and Iran playing out a 1-1 draw. Uruguay comfortably defeating Saudi Arabia 2-0. Into the 17th of June. Norway with a massive 5-1 win over Iraq. France defeating Senegal 3-1, a dominant performance from Les Bleus. Argentina playing out a 0-0 draw against Algeria, not the start the South Americans would have wanted, and Austria comfortably defeating Jordan 4-0. Into the 18th of June. England with a 2-1 victory over Croatia, a very similar result to Simulation 1. The runners-up from the previous simulation picking up right where they left off. Portugal defeating Congo 2-1. Uzbekistan playing out a remarkable draw with Colombia, a fantastic result for the smaller nation. And Ghana defeating Panama 2-0. The Group A and B results now generating. Czech Republic defeating South Africa 4-1, giving them 2 wins from 2. Bosnia defeating Switzerland 2-0, a really impressive clean sheet result against a traditionally dangerous tournament side. Canada scraping past Qatar 2-1. Mexico picking up another draw against South Korea. Some big names coming up next, and Morocco beating Scotland 2-1, bringing the Scots back down to earth after their strong start. Brazil comfortably beating Haiti 3-0. And then a massive result, Australia defeating the USA. A huge win for the Socceroos against a side that was so dominant in Simulation 1. Mohamed Touré grabbing another 2 goals, taking his tally to 4 already, and quietly becoming one of the most dangerous strikers in this simulation. Paraguay also picking up a big 3-2 win over Turkey. Into the 21st of June. Ivory Coast and Germany playing out a 1-1 draw, Germany dropping crucial points. Curaçao pulling off a massive 1-0 win over Ecuador, who are really struggling to find form in Simulation 2 after being a dark horse in Simulation 1. Netherlands redeeming themselves after that shock-opening defeat to Japan with a huge 4-0 win over Sweden. And Japan continuing their impressive run with a 2-1 win over Tunisia. Japan are looking like one of the real stories of this tournament. Moving on now with Belgium defeating Iran 3-0, Egypt beating New Zealand 3-1, Spain defeating Saudi Arabia 3-1, another convincing performance from the defending champions. Uruguay comfortably beating Cape Verde 4-0. Uruguay and Spain both qualifying from Group H. Belgium qualifying from Group G. Into the 23rd of June. Argentina getting the job done against Austria 2-0, an important result after their opening draw. France easily defeating Iraq 4-0. Senegal beating Norway 2-1, a tough result for the dark horse of Simulation 1, who are finding it much harder going this time around. Jordan drawing 1-1 with Algeria. England picking up another big win with a clean sheet against Ghana. Portugal getting the job done against Uzbekistan 2-1. And then one of the results of the tournament so far, Scotland defeating Brazil 2-1. Absolutely extraordinary. One of the true powerhouses of world football, beaten by Scotland, who just keep producing remarkable results when it matters most. Morocco beating Haiti 3-1. Switzerland defeating Canada 1-0. Bosnia defeating Qatar 2-0. Now the final group stage results coming through. Czech Republic beating Mexico 2-0. South Korea defeating South Africa 1-0. And Czech Republic beating Mexico 2-0, which means we are now starting to see some group qualifications locked in. Into the 26th of June now, and the Group D, E and F results are generating. And Germany going down 1-0 to Ecuador. Ecuador have the squad capable of causing that kind of damage, but it is still a really significant result. Ivory Coast qualifying top of Group E with a comfortable 3-0 win over Curaçao, and Germany scraping through in second place despite that defeat. Paraguay comfortably beating Australia 4-0 to qualify top of Group D. Turkey losing 2-0 to Netherlands. Japan drawing 2-2 with Sweden to claim the top qualification spot in Group F, with Netherlands grabbing second place. And Turkey picking up a crucial 1-0 win over the USA. And the results are extraordinary. Senegal absolutely demolishing Iraq 8-0, 8 goals. That could well be the game of the entire tournament. Sadio Mane bagging at least 3 goals in what is a truly stunning performance. That scoreline will have a massive impact on the top scorer standings. Egypt beating Iran 4-2 in another high-scoring affair. Belgium drawing 2-2 with New Zealand, dropping points they will not be happy about. Saudi Arabia beating Cape Verde 2-1. And then 2 massive results in the big games. Uruguay and Spain playing out a 1-1 draw, which is a really interesting result between 2 of the tournament heavyweights. And France and Norway also drawing 1-1. Another fascinating result in Group Y. Czech Republic qualifying first from Group A, South Korea second. Bosnia qualifying first from Group B, Switzerland second. And Group C, Morocco qualifying first, Scotland qualifying second. And in a remarkable achievement, Uzbekistan qualifying second, having been one of the most impressive smaller nations of the entire group stage. Congo scraping through in a third place spot. Ghana with a big 2-0 win over Croatia. England topping Group L with 3 wins from 3 games and just 1 goal conceded. Ghana through in second. Croatia going home without a single win. The third place spots confirming some fascinating names. Canada through. Brazil scraping through by the absolute skin of their teeth. The five-time world champions nearly suffering a humiliating group stage exit. USA through despite their struggles compared to Simulation 1. Ecuador and Sweden also through. Colombia, Croatia, Jordan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Cape Verde, New Zealand, and Iran all eliminated in the group stage. The second round matchups confirmed. South Korea versus Switzerland. Canada versus Ivory Coast. Scotland versus Japan. Morocco versus Netherlands. France versus Brazil. Germany versus Senegal. Czech Republic versus Ecuador. Congo versus England. Paraguay versus Sweden. Belgium versus Norway. Ghana versus Uzbekistan. And Uruguay versus Austria. Group stage stats check. Leading the scoring charts with 4 goals each, Mohamed Touré of Australia, Ismail Sarr of Senegal, Scott McTominay, and Kylian Mbappe. Player of the match standings led by Phil Foden and Kylian Mbappe with 3 awards each. And once again, just like Simulation 1, we have a player performing brilliantly who will not be at the real-life World Cup. Phil Foden not selected by Thomas Tuchel, just as Cole Palmer was prominent in Simulation 1. Football Manager continues to question some very interesting selection decisions. Average ratings topped by NDI of Senegal at 8.47, the Everton man having a truly outstanding tournament. For assists, Phil Foden leads with 3, sharing the top spot with Kang In Lee of South Korea, Julio Enciso of Paraguay, and Ndiaye of Senegal. Into the second round now. Switzerland defeating South Korea 2-1, the Swiss doing exactly what they always do in major tournaments. Canada knocking out Ivory Coast 2-0, home advantage playing a huge role for the Canadians, who did not make it this far in Simulation 1. Scotland defeating Japan, the Scots continuing to defy every expectation. Netherlands defeating Morocco, the Dutch continuing their recovery after that shock-opening defeat to Japan. France versus Brazil going all the way to a thrilling draw before France advance on penalties. Brazil going home, one of the giants of world football eliminated in the second round. Germany defeating Senegal 2-1 after extra time. Ecuador redeeming themselves with a very convincing 3-1 win over Czech Republic. England blowing away Congo 5-2. Norway defeating Belgium 2-1, a massive scalp for the dark horse contenders. And Sweden absolutely demolishing Paraguay 5-0 in one of the most one-sided knockout results of the simulation. Into the 3rd of July. Uruguay defeating Austria on penalties after a 1-1 draw. Uzbekistan pulling off a stunning 1-0 win over Ghana. What an achievement for this small nation who nobody gave any chance of getting out of the group stage. Algeria defeating Bosnia 2-0, quietly and efficiently marching on. Spain versus Argentina and USA versus Portugal, the final 2 second-round games. Argentina defeating Spain 2-1 after extra time. The defending simulation champions are out. Spain, who dominated Simulation 1, completely dismantled by Argentina here in Simulation 2. And USA defeating Portugal 1-0. Home advantage once again decisive. Portugal and Spain eliminated on the same day. The round of 16 matchups confirmed. Canada versus France, Switzerland versus Scotland, Netherlands versus Germany, Ecuador versus England, Uzbekistan versus Uruguay, Sweden versus Norway, Argentina versus Turkey, Algeria versus USA. Updated stats. Average ratings with a new leader, Anthony Elanga at the top, Mbappe close behind on 8.27 and still very much in the tournament. Scott McTominay moving to 5 goals to lead the scoring charts. Antonio Nusa of Norway featuring prominently in the assists alongside Xavi Simons of Netherlands and Bukayo Saka. 2 simulations in, and Nusa is consistently one of the most creative players in this tournament. Keep a very close eye on him when the real World Cup begins. Round of 16 results. France defeating Canada 3-0, very comfortable. Scotland defeating Switzerland 1-0, the Scots into the quarterfinals, and I cannot believe what this Scottish side is achieving. Netherlands defeating Germany 4-2 in a brilliant match between 2 great European rivals. England dominating Ecuador 3-0, the 3 Lions looking every bit as dangerous as they did in Simulation 1. Norway defeating Sweden 3-0 in the all-Scandinavian battle. Uzbekistan taking Uruguay all the way to penalties before going home. Hats off to one of the great simulation stories. Argentina defeating Turkey 3-2, and USA defeating Algeria 1-0 after extra time. Quarterfinal lineup: Uruguay versus Norway, France versus Scotland, Netherlands versus England, Argentina versus USA. France defeating Scotland 2-0 in the quarterfinals. The fairy tale finally ending for the brave Scots, who have been one of the genuine stories of this entire simulation. Uruguay defeating Norway 3-2 in an entertaining match, Norway's incredible run finally coming to an end. England and Netherlands going all the way to penalties after a 1-1 draw, England getting through in yet another dramatic fashion. And the USA defeating Argentina 4-3 after extra time in one of the matches of the tournament. Lionel Messi's World Cup journey is over, eliminated by a USA side that has been one of the most consistent teams across both simulations. Semifinal lineup: France versus Uruguay, England versus USA. Kylian Mbappe now leading the player of the match standings with 4 awards. Antonio Nusa finishing with 4 assists for Norway despite going home. Bukayo Saka moving to 4 assists for England, still alive in the tournament. France defeating Uruguay 4-1 in the first semi-final. Darwin Núñez grabbing a consolation goal for the brave Uruguayans, but France were dominant throughout. Dembele and Olise with a double among the scorers as Les Bleus march into the final. And England defeating the USA 3-2 after extra time in the second semi-final. The Americans incredibly brave once again, pushing England all the way. But Jared Bowen grabbing the winner in the 114th minute to break American hearts. The USA will face Uruguay in the third place playoff, and Uruguay claiming third place, with the USA finishing 4th, a proud achievement for both nations. And so we have our final, France versus England, a new finalist in France taking on the runners up from Simulation 1 in England. And there it is. France are the 2026 FIFA World Cup champions according to Football Manager 2026 Simulation 2, defeating England 2-1. Ousmane Dembele scoring in the 7th minute, Jared Bowen equalising brilliantly in the 69th minute, before Dembele breaking English hearts again in the 84th minute. What a final. Didier Deschamps praised by the French supporters as France lift the trophy. And once again, a very clear and fascinating pattern is emerging from these simulations. England reaching the final in back-to-back simulations and losing both times. Spain in Simulation 1, France in Simulation 2, England continuing to fall at the final hurdle in simulation just as they so often do in real life. Final tournament stats. Player of the match shared between Phil Foden and Kylian Mbappe with 4 awards each. Once again, a player not selected for the real-life England squad dominating the individual honours. Cole Palmer in Simulation 1, Phil Foden in Simulation 2. Thomas Tuchel's selections continue to be questioned by Football Manager. Best average rating stays with Lamine Ndiaye of Senegal at 8.23, having an extraordinary tournament despite Senegal going home in the second round. Mohamed Salah, who topped the ratings in Simulation 1, does not even feature in the top 15 this time around. Golden Boot shared between Alexander Sørloth of Norway with 7 goals in 6 games, and Ousmane Dembele of France with 7 goals in 8 games, both beating Mohamed Salah's 7 goals from Simulation 1. For assists, Bukayo Saka is the outright winner with 6, having been joint leader on 4 in Simulation 1. Antonio Nusa on 4 assists once again, a name that keeps appearing across both simulations. Cody Gakpo, Phil Foden, and Kylian Mbappe also finishing on 4. And the Golden Glove goes to Franco Israel of Uruguay, the Torino goalkeeper just 26 years old, claiming the award that went to Mike Maignan of France in Simulation 1. Maignan managing 3 clean sheets this time, but Franco Israel taking that top spot convincingly. That is Simulation 2 officially wrapped up. France are your world champions. England are runners-up for the second consecutive simulation. The patterns are forming. England in the final twice, losing twice. USA consistently reaching the final 4. Norway a dark horse in both simulations, and players absent from the real England squad dominating the individual awards. We will be tracking all of these patterns across every simulation leading up to June 11th to see what Football Manager is truly predicting for the real World Cup. See you in Simulation 3.